What's something you shouldn't give to a homeless person? Food that needs to be cooked. A frozen turkey. Had a friend who used to send plated meals to the homeless people near her house, occasionally. One day one of them came to her door with a frozen turkey. Someone had driven to the homeless area and handed this woman a frozen turkey. When the woman delivered it, she said, "I figured you have an oven, maybe you can use it." What did they think I was going to do with it? I've got a shopping cart, not an oven. I'm really surprised I haven't seen this answer, but anything of noticeably high value. Brand name clothing or shoes, expensive backpacks, watches, etc. This can get them killed, or at the very least targeted and mugged. It also makes things harder for them to be taken seriously and receive effective aid if they're dressed in expensive clothing, that or it's assumed they stole it, which is a whole other problem. I've done outreach work. They get so much food and water, but females need feminine hygiene products and they all need socks. A hard time. Mostly related, but I work at a homeless shelter and you would not believe some of the shit that comes through donations. Lingerie, beat-up clothing and shoes, outdated appliances. If you want to donate, you can always call ahead and see if the shelter is looking for particular items. Seasonal clothing, hygiene items, not half-used shampoo bottles, and new socks and underwear are always good ideas. Edit. Thanks for the awards. For those asking, my shelter always has lots of donations including full bottles of shampoos, so I would rather give out a full bottle rather than half. Laxatives. This homeless guy that used to live in a nearby bridge was given food that secretly had some sort of laxative in it. Needless to say, he became a lot more wary of free food afterwards. I don't think they ever found out who the POS that did it was. I used to work for a non-profit and we gave out branded tire pressure gauges. I'm not sure why, I thought it was an odd choice, but we found out one day while outreaching that some of our clients were turning them into crack pipes. Needless to say, we stopped giving those out. Haha. Ask them what they want. We had a homeless man, who walked around in a garbage bag, explained people kept giving him clothes and 3 times he had been attacked for them. If you're not sure what they need, ask. Internet fame. Stop recording your good deeds to get attention. If you want to help someone out, just help them. Edit. A lot of people were confused by this, so I just want to clarify. There is a difference between using someone for personal gain versus using social media in a positive way to truly make an impact. I'm talking about people who exploit others to grow their channel, and/or get a ton of donations and then misuse the funds. It's specifically an asshole move when a person isn't given an option to consent, which you could argue are a lot of people, especially if they don't give consent and then aren't given resources since they don't want to be in a video. TBH, this is gonna sound weird, but homemade food. It's better to give already packaged, ready-made food so that there isn't any doubt that the food has been tampered with. An unsolicited conversation on why they wouldn't be homeless if they pulled themselves up by their bootstraps. Don't just drop off food in to-go containers near someone's tent. If you're bringing food, talk to them, give it to them. Stacking up perishable food they can't manage or really throw away is only bringing mice to their living situation. Apples, try softer foods. Edit. Thank you for the upvotes. If there's anyone with the savvy for fundraising, I know an individual in Lahaina that could really use some attention. I call him Blind Mike. He absolutely is blind, and says it's from cataracts that can be corrected with surgery. The guy toting along with him uses him as a hustle and takes most of the drive-by offerings. I've spent a good amount of time talking to him. That said, he is alcoholic and not willing to help himself, but geez, if there's a way to get his vision back, I'm more than happy to coach him from there. Drugs. They will just use them to get money. Attachments for their KitchenAid stand mixer. Milk-based foods. If a person spends some years without consuming dairy products, they lose their ability to digest lactose. Lactose intolerance increases with age. I googled to provide a reference, and there are many. So you can Google if you want to check this. I'm in NYC. There's the homeless one should avoid like the plague, and then there's the homeless who one can approach and give food, or a few bucks. It bothers me to say, but as a New Yorker, you develop the savviness and instinct to size up the difference really fucking fast. Stuff that they have to carry around. I will never forget when I was about 18, I was walking in downtown Atlanta with my mom. She gave a few bucks to every single homeless person we passed by. I was like, "Mom, you know they're probably just gonna spend it on drugs or alcohol." She simply said, "That's none of my business." Just so matter-of-factly put me in my place and really made me think. This is also the same woman who left her $100 cash back in the self-checkout at Target by accident and didn't even go back for it. We were still in the parking lot when she realized, because it made her happy thinking how someone's day just got better when the next person used that checkout. My mom, man, she's just better than me. Period. Gatorade. I tried handing out some bottles of ice-cold Gatorade one summer and I got turned down by over a dozen people. Apparently it gives them the runs. I was thinking electrolytes. Woman shrugging, medium light skin tone. Edit. I was in my 20s, it was 105 degrees, I had a big pack of cold Gatorade bottles, thought, I'll drive around and hand these out. Everyone passed because they told me that Gatorade gives them the shits. I know water is better. It's what I had at the time. I wasn't trying to be a shitty person. Pun intended. An STD. Fake Christian money. Whatever they don't want. I was gonna buy a homeless dude a nice backpack once, but he didn't want it because chances he will get robbed for it or stolen. For Thanksgiving I saw a couple hand a turkey to a homeless guy that was panhandling. Sounds sweet, right? Except it was raw defrosted meat and he had to stop panhandling for cash and get in the bus to go back home, or the meat goes bad. Criminal charges for simply existing. I think a more useful question may be, what is something you should give to a homeless person? For this, I live in a small city with a high percentage of homelessness. The local shelter around here recommends some great items to store in your car. Travel size hygiene products, new toothbrush, toothpaste, etc. Emergency space blankets. Travel ponchos. Chapstick. Thermal socks. Reusable water bottles. Non-perishable food items. Edit. Women's hygiene products, underwear are so important. Also, someone brought up a great point that not all homeless people have access to water filling stations, so reusable water bottles are not always that useful. Check with your local state resources. I've always been told don't give homeless people money because they'll spend it on drink, drugs. I get that, but I also think if I was on the streets, especially in winter, then I'd need something like that just to survive, so I usually do anyway. Attitude. Cruelty. Here's a valuable info. If you give someone something, homeless or not, it doesn't mean you can argue with that person about how they've used it. If you give a homeless person money, that's his money from that point on, he can spend it whenever and however he wants to. I don't care if he buys drugs or liquor, what I don't want is an old lady with a broken arm due to a desperate individual looking for a fix. An electric blanket. A lecture. I was homeless and a guy threw a pack of razor blades in my lap and said, do the world a favor, so I did. I used them to shave to help me find work. A month later I was in a caravan with a job to go to. 6 months later I had a car. Now I live in an apartment complex and have a full-time job. Saw a guy sell a hatchet to a crazy homeless guy for $1 at a garage sale in Venice Beach once. I'm like, dude, that could end really horribly. My grandma once watched a homeless woman's bag of stuff break and the woman started crying. My grandma had one of those sturdy reusable grocery bags. She asked the women if she'd like the bag. Grandma gave her the bag and the women acted like she'd been given $1 million. Sometimes it's the things we'd never expect that mean the world to the homeless. Head. A housewarming gift. Those fake dollar bills with biblical scripture on them. Doing as a tip is already scummy AF. Doing so to homeless is the antithesis of Christianity. An NFT. Rules for how they use whatever they are given. Want to give them some money? Okay, but don't think you have any say in what they choose to spend it on. Your judgment. I was asked for cash by a homeless woman at a gas station recently. I didn't have any and told her so. Asked her if there was anything in particular she wanted from inside and her response was cigarettes. So I bought her a pack of cigarettes. That is literally the first time in my 30+ years I have ever bought cigarettes. A home. Governments. Toothpaste in an Oreo cookie. Cash. Believe it or not, homeless folks really need socks. We used to check in on this homeless man occasionally to make sure he was doing okay. One year we were chatting and he says, "Hey, I have to give you something." I was excited, thinking maybe he's super artsy and made us something cool to remember him by. He opens his trench coat and reveals a giant frozen uncooked slab of pork. Someone gave me this fucking slab of meat. What the fuck does he think I'm going to do with this? I'm sick of carrying this around. Money. Drugs. ETA. Drugs without medical uses. Live, armed explosives.